The other day, Alan Grayson went onto the House floor and yielded his time to the dead, the people who do not have insurance, who have died.
And now from Jasmine about Rebecca Jane Delgado of Lampasas, Texas. I found out my mother had cancer on August 23, 2007, my first day of classes at St. Edward's University. We were told there was ovarian cancer in the final stage, but some treatments were still available, so we started with the standard, which is chemotherapy. I missed several classes going to sit with her while she sat amongst the other cancer patients at the oncology center. The first chemotherapy didn't work, so we tried a different one that required a special port implant. Blue Cross Blue Shield didn't approve the implant, so I used what was left of my financial aid for school to pay for her. That didn't work either, so we started going to special oncology hospitals looking for alternative treatments. We got a nutrition plan and some pills, but everything else was experimental. The treatment centers wanted upwards of $100,000 for some new treatments that were available, but we didn't have that kind of money. I don't know whether the experimental treatments would have worked or not, but I sure would have liked to try. My mother died last November. I lost my mother and I'm only 23 years old. I have no other family. I spent Christmas alone. I would do anything to ensure this never happens again to anyone else, ever.
What does Joe Lieberman think about those who have died because they don't have health insurance?
Take this government-created, government-run health insurance company that will cost the taxpayers, premium payers, and the debt a lot of money. Take it off the table. We can come back in 3 or 4 years if the other reforms we adopt are not working, but I think they will. And so that's my position.
Oh, yeah. Real funny, you piece of shit.
For our country and my constituents.
So just where do the voters in Mr. Lieberman's district fall on the subject of health care and the public option? Well, let's find out.
The most recent survey of voters here in Connecticut, done just last month by Quinnipiac University, indicated that 64% say they favor the public option. Now, 88% of them are Democrat, but it's also 61% of independents said they favor the public option. 28% of Republicans say they favor the public option. Those are the people who elected you.
And just what has this corporate whore promised his voters in the past? Well, let's have a look.
What I'm saying to the people of Connecticut, I can do more for you and your families to get something done to make health care affordable, to get universal health insurance, made a choice to allow anybody in our country to buy into a national health insurance pool like the health insurance that we federal employees and members of Congress have, medical malpractice reform. It will cover 95% of those who are not covered now, and it will reduce the pressure on rising costs for all the millions.
Let's hear now from Julie Nichols about Frankie Nichols, 41 years old in Copeville, Texas. My husband Frankie didn't have health insurance and he rarely went to the doctor. He was a relatively young man without any health problems. He came down with what we thought was pneumonia in March of 2006. I got him to a doctor because I had coverage through my job, but we couldn't afford the additional $500 monthly premium to include him. He went to the doctor in April of 2006. After treating him for 3 weeks because he didn't have coverage, we were out of pocket $2,000. A CAT scan was done which determined that he had lung cancer. The doctor advised us to go to a public county hospital because they were not equipped to provide treatment. The county we live in does not have a public hospital, so we went to a different county hospital elsewhere in order to get him seen. He was admitted through the emergency room. He stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks while the doctors determined the origin of the cancer. He received 1 chemo treatment and he was sent home. His next chemo treatment was scheduled for May 25th, 2006. He died on May 24th, 2006. I think that if he had had access to treatment when he first became ill, he would have survived a bit longer. Perhaps not, but any additional time he could have spent with me and our kids would have been precious to us. Now I'm unemployed and uninsured myself. I worry how I will cope if I get ill and need extreme medical treatment. I have 2 kids who depend on me and have access to regular health care only through me. If they had access to regular health care and I knew they could count on it, it would lift the worry from my mind.
I put a link to a website by Brave New Films. The website is Lieberman Must Go. Listen, it's time to get rid of these corporate whores. It's either that or you just let them continue to fuck you up the ass.